Hello, Jack Ferry.
Hi, Grace Helbig.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. This one I'm very excited about. I might have come in a little hot on this episode. Our guest, Brian Huskey, is absolutely fantastic. If you Google him, you'll recognize him from every commercial you've ever seen on television.
Yep.
As well as bit parts in all of your favorite comedy shows.
Yep.
And the new thing, well, not new, because it came out, the first special in 2016, Mr. Neighbor's House.
Yep.
Which is based on Mr. Rogers.
And you just saw the documentary.
I just saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers documentary last night, and then this morning watched Mr. Neighbor's House, which is a 2-part special.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a third, we don't know yet. And it's nuts. It's so good. I am obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. It's on Adult Swim. You can watch it for free on their website right now, I think. So go check it out. It's dark, funny, interesting. It's just really good.
Thought-provoking.
Yeah, no, it's just really well done. It's shot really well. Everyone that's in it, Brian is fucking fantastic in it.
Yeah.
And so I was super excited to talk to him about it.
Yeah, Brian is like one of those actors. He kind of talks about it in the interview where he's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm like that guy. Oh yeah, you're that guy. You're in that thing." And it's like, yeah, he kind of reminds me of like Steven Tobolowsky. He's just like one of those like hilariously great like character actors that just like appears in everything. And every time you see him, you're like, "Oh yeah, I like that guy."
Yeah, he's just solid all the time.
Always.
But I feel like he's always like a secondary character in a lot of stuff that you see him in. And
totally.
Yeah, Mr. Neighbor's House is something that he's the
big lead.
Yeah, which is just, I don't know, exciting. Very cool.
And I think he's most famous, or I think he's most recognizable because of how many commercials he's been in.
It's nuts. I didn't get the exact number, but I would be fascinated if any of you know the exact number of commercials that Brian Huskey is in.
It must be dozens and dozens and dozens. And it's interesting too, because like I think you need a certain kind of resilience to be
and we talk about it a little
commercial
bit,
actor.
that it does eat your soul to feel like you've sold out to a company, but he talks really well about how he...
Not just that, but auditioning.
Yeah, no, it's so goddamn nuts. Also, just quick caveat for this episode. There happened to be construction happening directly behind us for a portion of this. So
it's not too loud, but it's
not too loud at all, but just know that we know, guys.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to turn off the alarm on my phone.
Producer, director extraordinaire, Jack Ferry made the easiest rookie mistake.
I'm so embarrassed. But you know what? I'm human. And we all make mistakes, and I regret it, and I apologize in advance.
It's okay. We've all been there.
But yeah, so commercial auditioning, because like when you first came out here, you did a couple, and then at some point you were like, enough. What happened?
I did a bunch in New York City for like 3 years. I went to commercial auditions, which just suck your soul, because I was living in Brooklyn. You take the subway in for like 40 to 50 minutes to a commercial audition place. You go into a room with a casting director that's miserable for like less than 30 seconds.
Right.
And they know immediately it's whether you look the part that they want to cast.
Right.
It's not about your ability necessarily to speak the words, if there are any on the paper.
Right.
And then I booked a campaign for Lowe's.
I remember.
Yeah, I booked this campaign for Lowe's, which was the most intense audition process, because the director really thought he was directing like Avatar or something very, very large and big. And so the callback for the commercial, one, you see like everyone else that you know in comedy. I think Mamrie was at the callback even.
Oh, wow.
And you can hear the room, which is the worst thing ever, when you can hear someone auditioning before you go in. And so the room is full of like marketing executives that work for the ad agency that's creating these spots for Lowe's, along with like Lowe's reps, along with the director. And it was a completely improvised shoot, because the whole commercial campaign was going to be me interviewing, quote, real Lowe's customers and trying to get like their thoughts on paint and stuff like that.
Right.
But he was like, okay, pretend you're talking to me and try to convince me about how good Lowe's products are. And then I had to like do this basic improv game with him. And then he's like, and now you have to get louder. Like there's an airport right next to you and jets are flying in. And so it's me bopping around screaming about like getting people to love paint. And I left that room feeling so degraded, like embarrassed of like, Well, that's on tape. That exists somewhere in the world. Didn't get that. And then found out I got it like a couple days later.
Amazing.
Really amazing. And also like the actual shooting process of the commercials was absolutely nothing like the audition process.
Really?
I think he was just like, I want to see how far she'll go in terms of like...
Right. Because it doesn't seem like... It wasn't a crazy commercial.
No,
it was just sort of like...
they wanted... It was bonkers because it is me like interviewing people that they quote cast that are just real people that would shop at Lowe's.
Right.
But instead of getting like sound bites from them, like full sentence sound bites, I had an earpiece in that the director had a microphone hookup to.
Oh.
So he would tell me things in my ear to say to like basically fuck with these people.
Right. This is like Punk'd.
It was like exactly like that. And I was like, he'd have me ask someone about like, what kind of paint color did you like? Oh, because you're newlyweds. And then he'd be like, ask them about their honeymoon. And then I would ask a question. And then instead of having them, if they weren't saying it in a full sentence, he was like, don't correct them, just be silent. So I'd have to like sit there like a serial killer, just in silence on camera, and they'd look at me and they'd look at the cameraman and like the boom operator and be like, are we okay? Is it? And he wanted them to just keep talking until he got something he could use in the commercial.
Sure.
It was like 3 days of intensity.
Oh wow, that took 3 days to shoot that commercial?
Because there's like 6 of them.
Oh, okay. It was a whole campaign.
Yeah, it was a whole campaign. And it's funny because I think they're online still. It's like Grace Helbig, like not actual Lowe's employee, because I'm wearing like the outfit like I am.
Right.
And everyone at the time thought that I booked that because I was doing YouTube. That they're like, look, Grace booked a brand deal with Lowe's. And I was like, no.
No, I auditioned like everyone else.
Yeah. And after that, I was like, kind of like, check off bucket list, did a commercial. Okay.
Don't need to do that.
I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. The thing about commercials is like, they pay well if you're a young actor, but at the same time,
the residuals are nuts.
Yeah. But they are not exactly creatively fulfilling.
No, you sell your soul to the devil a little bit on them. But thank you, Lowe's. I still shop at you. I feel a little pang in my heart, little pitter patter every time I go in and look for succulents. But we're going to get into more about the glamorous world of commercial auditioning. And here are 2 of his worst commercial auditions,
and
which
is so funny.
They're fantastic and give me like hope. And
they gave me anxiety when he was explaining.
Well, yeah, that too. Maybe I should fix the way that I think about hope. Maybe, but it's pretty fantastic. So we won't take up your time anymore, guys. Let's get into this episode of Not Too Deep with Brian Huskey.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our good buddies at Casper.
Yes.
The sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time.
And now they have 3 mattress models, the original Casper, the Wave, and the Essential. Casper mattresses are perfectly designed to soothe and cradle your natural geometry, aka your body.
And I gotta say, I have the Wave.
Ooh.
I just got it, and it is the most comfortable bed I've ever slept on.
Wow.
So highly recommend it. If you can, check it out. The Wave is awesome.
Let me guess, it has a breathable design that helps you sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night?
Yes. And it's delivered right to your door in a small, and it really is small. Because I ordered a California King.
It's confusingly small.
Like, this thing is smaller than my fridge, and I ordered a California King, and I was like, this is an error.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of... like after you like take the shrink wrap off.
That's exactly how it sounds when you take it out of the box.
And it inflates. Anyway, it's delivered right to your door in this small box with free shipping and returns in the U.S. and Canada. And the best part is you can be sure of your purchase because they have a 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial.
3 months. So you got 3 months to decide.
Slightly more than 3 months.
Yeah, if you are wildly indecisive, don't worry about having to make a very final decision immediately. You get some chance to think about it.
I decided to get the Wave. Why the Wave? Because of this line right here. You spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, so you should be comfortable. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, if you guys are interested in trying one out, just remember there's 100 days. You can try it risk-free. You can also get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/grace and using GRACE at checkout. That's casper.com/grace. Offer code GRACE
for $50 off your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
Not too deep.
Guess what, Jack?
What's that, Grace?
Today's episode is sponsored by the Beyond Burger.
Ooh, I've heard about this.
Yes, it's an uncompromisingly delicious plant-based burger that's packed with protein and better for you and the planet.
I've heard about this, and they tell us that the Beyond Burger is not your hippie college roommate's veggie burger. It is a sizzling sensation created for meat lovers everywhere. In fact, it's the only plant-based burger that is so meaty it's sold in the meat case at the grocery stores nationwide, which I found surprising because there's no actual meat in the burger.
Not even in the slightest. That's how confident they are that this is the closest to actual meat without having meat.
Yeah.
Of all burgers, the Beyond Burger is made from simple ingredients applied in fresh ways. They use protein from peas, potato starch, and coconut oil without gluten, soy, or GMOs.
No GMOs.
GMOs.
The delicious.
GMOs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like to pronounce every letter. If they're all capped, I'm going to pronounce them all.
The delicious plant-based Beyond Burger comes with less baggage and more benefits, so you can eat what you love and feel better while doing it. So this summer, add some sizzle to your grill with this revolutionary burger that satisfies even the most ravenous of carnivores. And Grace,
I've tried it.
you've had it.
I can tell you.
Tell me what it's like.
It's fantastic. And I am a meat eater. I was pescatarian for a while, so I've eaten a ton of veggie burgers in my day. And this was beyond all of those other burgers.
Hey, good name.
Yeah, they named it appropriately. It was delicious. It had like a very similar texture to meat. It cooked just like meat. It tasted, as close to meat as I've found with any sort of plant-based burger. So highly, highly recommend.
I'll definitely have to try it. And if you guys are ready to taste the future of protein made from plants, visit beyondmeat.com/grace and click on the Where to Find button to find a local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/grace.
Oh, I should have brought some of my daughter's slime.
Really? I want to get into that too.
Are you due to follow my daughter on?
I just looked this up and had to reaffirm that this was your daughter's account. I was like,
Doggo Slimies.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? I've been very impressed by my friends who have been like, oh, what is this slime thing? And then they've gotten pretty addicted to it. Like they've discovered I think I like the little snappy sounds.
The sounds. Yeah. We had Nikki Glazer on the podcast a while ago and we talked about ASMR because I'm not an ASMR.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't affect me in the way that it soothes and calms other people that are into it. But your daughter's found a niche, which is incorporating two of the internet's hottest trends, slime and ASMR in some weird, bizarre, kind of soothing way.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at these videos of her, she's just putting her hand into the slime that she's made.
Yeah.
And making what...
It's satisfying, Grace.
But
people find it very satisfying.
I can't get past the fact that it sounds like fart sounds.
Yeah. She'll come up behind me and have a handful of slime and go... and she's like, is that satisfying? It's like, no, it sounds like I've been fart attacked. It's not cool.
And she makes all of it herself?
Yeah, my house is decimated.
I tried to make slime once and it was unsuccessful. So she is a true entrepreneur.
She is.
Does she sell the slime?
She has a Etsy shop. She sold 4.
Oh my God.
Far.
Can we get in contact with her for a future episode? I'd love to bring her on and talk more about this.
She would love that. She would love that.
But you seem like a very supportive father.
I am.
Sorry to stalk you, but I went through the gram and saw that she had graduated and you were just posting very wonderfully supportive, embarrassing things.
Yeah.
And being someone that's in entertainment, that does comedy, that she can access via her phone constantly. Is there anything that you've done that she's proud of?
No, she's ashamed of everything I do. Everything I do, she's just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
No, she's at that age where she's 11, so she's kind of reluctantly expressive of things. But she's really proud of me doing Bob's Burgers. She's really into that.
That's cool.
She's been this Mr. Neighbor's House. She's proud of, but she can't. She saw the pilot. We did a pilot of it first, And that was like 3.5 years ago.
Because she didn't grow up with Mr. Rogers.
she's probably
so
unfamiliar
her,
with the
like,
reference.
No,
Yeah.
but it, you know, and so she's like, oh, this is kind of a slow paced kid show. And then it gets really dark. And she's like, that part scared me.
But that must be a great like crowdsourced litmus test within your own home to figure out like what do you watch on TV? What do you like?
Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of her that she found Freaks and Geeks on her own.
Really?
Oh, wow.
The Office, like Kimmy Schmidt.
Great taste.
I know. And I was like, you know,
You're
because
like
if I suggest it, she's like, "Ugh, no.
Yeah.
But if she finds it, it's
Then you have this just sense of pride that she's going to be okay.
yeah. Freaks and Geeks was a big one. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. That's deep dive, I guess, to find that if you're 11 right now.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Mr. Neighbor's House. Because
So we started. This is happening.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's already
we're going,
happening.
Brian.
Oh, it's just
Yeah.
so fluid.
It's just
It just feels like
calm. We got all of our tension about LaCroix out of the way before we started.
so
That
divisive.
was that's our warm up. That was our litmus test for you. What does he choose? Mr. Neighbor's House. I was telling you that I just saw Won't You Be My Neighbor last night, and I grew up like sort of like Mr. Rogers was in my wheelhouse, but not something I paid much attention to.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Yeah. So
And
that's
so it was there, but it wasn't something I watched regularly. There's something weird about like a grown man taking off his shoes, even at a young age, that I felt like slightly uncomfortable by.
Yeah.
So going and seeing that, I was like, oh, this presented it in like its whole form and how wonderfully like amazing and progressive he was at the time, and how interesting and fascinating and calm he was.
Yeah.
And then you guys shit all over that.
Well, I want to emphasize like it's been weird the timing of this with that documentary because
the first one came out in like 2016.
Yeah.
Mr. Neighbor's House, right?
yeah, and it wasn't. It's not Mr. Rogers is sort of like the jumping off point.
Right. No, that's what you guys do so well in the second one is that you make a real like specific delineation from it being exactly like the first one.
Yeah, and then hopefully in the first one, it's just sort of kids show, but we chose that one because we looked at all these different, versions of kid shows, and we wanted one that since it centers on one person, we wanted there to be a central character, and we wanted all the issues, like for him to be able to be gentle to the audience but harsh on himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a weird pain.
Yeah.
That is like, very understandable, but sensitive and sweet and like silent. That was the thing that I thought you guys did so well in the first one, is captured like his okayness with silence. And patience with just dead air.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize until I watched his doc last night, that's what he would just do, is just be silent.
Yeah.
And let people like feel uncomfortable.
And that basically is the call and response thing that's built in. Like, what do you think? And you give time for the kid to be like, I like it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so his having like Mr. Neighbor's House, the show and stuff, is his sort of like his framework or his protection to the issues he's dealing with and stuff. And so he wants to make sure that the show goes right and it all kind of keeps together. And when it starts to get a little too truthy, a little too close to what he's scared of, he snaps.
Oh, and it's great.
Yeah.
Did you guys do a lot of like kid show watching research before coming to this idea of wanting to make this show?
Well, it was a conversation after a improv show we did at Upright Citizens Brigade, where we were just talking about regional kids shows and how, because they have super low budgets and they're kind of inherently shitty and not well thought out, they had a kind of weird menace to them. It's kind of like, come in my basement and watch this kids show I'm doing. No. So we were just talking about the things we grew up with, and we just had the idea that it might be funny for me to be an unhinged host. And then I wanted to do a thing. We were just like, he's a fucked up host of a kid's show.
Right.
And I didn't want to do something that Adult Swim gives you the permission to do whatever. And sometimes too much whatever is just boring. Like you can heighten out of an idea way fast, and you're like, okay, everything's crazy, and it has no weight to it.
It's not smart.
Yeah.
I think no, you guys did it with like restraint, which is really smart.
Right.
I thought that's what was really cool and interesting about it is that you didn't know where it was going to go, but you still were totally invested in this thing.
I think it makes it more interesting for us to have we have a story and a backstory for him. Because if we get that right, then we can drop in jokes wherever we need.
Yeah. Was there always a plan for the second one, or did that? Because the first one is the great thing is that they're pretty complete as individual pieces or individual specials.
Right.
Was there always the plan for the second one?
Well, there was always the hope.
Got
as
it.
there is now with the third one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is there going to be more?
I don't know. I mean, Adult Swim they're like a cool record shop. You know, they barely want people to be able to find them, but if you find them, then you're cool too. And then maybe you hang around long enough, they let you come to the show. You know, it's just a lot of kind of like
people that don't make eye contact that are giving you notes on your creative.
A lot of mumbling, kind of like, that's cool, whatever. It's like, did you like it? He's not invested.
What's been, because you started in comedy in like what I consider like real comedy, like face to face with audiences and improv and that sort of thing. And I did some of that in New York, and I exist mostly on the internet now.
Right.
And so having things like Mr. Neighbor's House available, like streaming, what's the internet feedback? Do you read comments? Do you go through like social media?
If they put it on my social media, I read it. I try. This is maybe sound so old. I can't figure out Reddit. I can't get the darn thing. I'm trying to read it or Reddit. I don't know what it is. Like I was trying to put a fucking GIF on there, and I was like, I don't know. I think I just erased like some database for like a hospital.
Get Doggo to help.
Yeah.
She'll know. She'll be your lifeline.
Totally. But yeah, I the first one I did, I sort of sought it out and stuff. But this one, if it, I have like a Google alert, and if it kind of pops up. But it is weird. I don't know if you have it is similar in that, well, no, it's not similar. It's like I get the audience feedback. I'm like, oh, that worked, that didn't work and stuff. And this, especially being Adult Swim, you just kind of throw it out there, and it just
like a
exists.
pebble in a pond. And you wonder what happens with it. Yeah.
And then it's weird after all the promotional push and having to pay for it myself. That's the other thing. I'm like, come on, guys, I want something. But it's just a weird part of
the biz, guys.
Biz.
It is interesting how they do a lot of this sort of one-off thing. I remember when that Too Many Cooks video came out. It was just like everyone was talking about it, and I was like, is this a show?
Yeah.
Like, nope. Just a one-off. I think that's kind of cool though, because it gives you an opportunity because not everything has the legs to be an entire series.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool that they can do these kind of one-offs.
Well, when we did it as a pilot, we did as one of those 15-minute things, and I honestly was very shocked that they didn't pick it up, because the head of Adult Swim just said, like, if I like something, I pick it up, and I love this. And I was like, great, we're in.
Done.
Right.
And then they didn't. But I've done a few shows for Time Warner, Turner, and stuff, and it's everybody fucking works for Coke or Amazon now, and so if something good doesn't work, it's because it doesn't fiscally make sense at some point. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But they were, he to his credit, and he's brilliant, Mike Lazo, he was like, I think this show would benefit from a longer format, but we can't do a series. So if you want to do a special and kind of pad it out a little bit.
Interesting.
And that helped us, I think.
That's great. But then you get to sit in this like weird limbo of wondering if it gets to keep going or not.
I know.
It's fun.
Oh, it's exciting.
This weird, creative purgatory.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
The diplomatic way of saying exciting means it sucks.
How long have you been doing improv for in total?
Jeez. Ugh. So long. Like,
ugh is an amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so we're having the Del Close Improv Marathon this weekend in New York, and it's the 20th anniversary.
Wow.
So probably either 21 or 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did that, because you're from North Carolina, right?
Charlotte.
Okay. And then you moved to New York from them?
I moved to New York I was a photographer.
Right, you were a photographer assistant, and that's how you met Cordry?
Yeah, kind of. I moved up there to go to photo school.
Okay.
I've been working for like a weekly kind of Village Voice kind of paper in the South. Went there for a year. And then the next year I was assisting and trying to do my own stuff. And Rob and I became roommates through a mutual friend.
Got it.
And he was like, after a while, he's like, you're funny. And he was doing a sketch group. He's like, you're funnier than my sketch group. We should do something together.
Oh, interesting.
And I mean, this is like we were talking about before. This is basically the same story I tell every time.
Sure.
But I mean, that's how exciting I am. Yeah, I've always wanted to do this. I have a framed speech I wrote in second grade that I wanted to be a comedian when I grew up.
That's sweet and sad.
Yeah, no, but it's like, I delayed it so much because I kept kind of trying, and I think I was just.
But if you don't fully try, then you never fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it also became like this Kilimanjaro mountain that I just was like, it's getting bigger and bigger to climb this, get to the mount,
Yeah, that's nuts.
So I really needed somebody to be like, you can do this.
Yeah.
And I realized I had the same thing. I think a lot of actors and performers have this with like agents and managers when they deem you worthy to, for them to work for you, but you sense that you're working for them.
That there's this weird, like, parents, I need to impress them and I get their respect, but they're also kind of technically, quote unquote, my employees. And
they are. They are not technically. They are flat out. You give them some of what the money you make that they help you earn.
But you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, but they're always just like, they have this power.
It's a power balance.
It is. It's a lot like, it's like pimping and whoring.
That's exactly for any of you out there that wanted Brian's advice about the industry.
Start out as a street, on the street corner and get a sense of it. Suck a dick in an alleyway and then do your audition.
See what happens. How long did you guys live together, you and Rob?
Oh God, it was like everything's like, oh God, so long. I think it was either 4 or 5 years.
Wow. Did you guys have roommate rules of like?
Not really. He put up with my overweight, diabetic, very dirty butted cat, Mildred.
Oh, cat. Okay.
Cat.
I was waiting for the end of that sentence. No. That could be anything.
No, it was my cat who, when I would go away, my cat would go and throw up on his pillow. As a acting out thing.
So you established dominance,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you would like claim your territory.
No, we were pretty chill with each other. It's cool.
That's great.
He's one of my best friends in the world.
Yeah, you guys work together a lot.
Yeah.
And the whole improv community, which is something I think is so cool, is you guys get to work with each other. It felt like all the cameos in Mr. Neighbor's House are all people I've seen on stage before at UCB, at Del Close, all the, on TV, that it must be nice to have this like Rolodex of community to be like, my friend's perfect for this role.
Well, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Like, I talked to this commercial director that I've worked with for a few times, and I was just like, "Thank you for keeping me around and stuff." He's like, "Honestly, it's because you make my job easier. Like, it's so
irreliable."
Yeah, and if you're taking just one or two of the problems that might arise out of the equation, things are that much better. And one of the best bits of advice I ever got from Matt Walsh, who was one of my teachers, he was like, in doing comedy, I think the best thing is like you find people you vibe with, and then you produce things that you feel like is a voice, and then that voice goes out into culture, and hopefully it kind of catches on, and then you elevate it or you change it and stuff. And I think that was, for me, that was an interesting way of like, oh, that is a way to figure out what my voice is, because my friends and my community are a reflection of what I like and who I am and all that kind of stuff. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
It's seemingly like second nature but it's wonderful to hear it, like that philosophy out loud, and just be kind of like reaffirm that, that's what I should be doing.
I really think it took me this long to even formulate that sentence. Because I remember at one point I was in a sketch group with Rob and Seth Morris and John Ross Bowie, and
we saw that throwback photo you posted on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And we, at one point, we're trying to figure out what our types were.
Sure.
Because we're kind of like,
white, all of you.
We're all white. We're all obsessed with Mr. Show. And so they're like, okay, well, the prototypes are like the conservative one and the alternative one. And I think I was resistant to the idea that I kind of came off as like what I get cast as now is like middle management, professors and doctors and all this kind of stuff. And so once I realized like, oh, that's how people perceive me, but I can sort of have my own take on it within the packaging that I am.
Right.
That was good.
Yeah. No, that's freeing in a way.
Yeah.
You don't feel like pulled down by this typecasting.
Right. It's a way to kind of subvert it a little bit or own it.
So let's talk about, you've been in every commercial that's existed on TV.
I know.
Literally
and I believe in all the products.
Yeah.
I really do. They're all great.
And I imagine, or tell me if I'm wrong, I assume that people come up to you on the street constantly and they look at you and you're familiar looking, but they can't place you sometimes.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah. What's the strangest encounters you've had with people?
Well, one of the weirdest ones was someone's like, hey, I know you. What stuff have you done? And I was like,
which is fun to say your resume out loud to
let me list a bunch of stuff. And I said, I was on Parks. No, I was on the Goldbergs because I had just recently done one. It's like, I just did a Goldbergs. He's like, no, you didn't. And I was like, well, I think I did. And he's like, no, it's my favorite show, and I would know, and you weren't on there. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm a lunatic.
Well, yeah, he lived your life experience more than you did, so he knows for
you're
sure.
clearly a hallucination I'm having right now, so I'm not going to engage with you.
It was cool that he set you straight, though.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was great.
Yeah, you always need a fact checker.
Yeah, totally.
And a complete stranger is the best kind to have.
The weirdest thing is some people are not great at kind of clocking you in a subtle way. And
but looking at, I'm sure when you go to the grocery store, you are like having people look at you and you're noticing all of it.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's like, they'll give you a look that it's almost like, why does everybody hate me here? They're giving me this kind of like confused, disgusted look.
Did I do something wrong here last time?
Did I murder someone? Did I black out again?
The alternative, how long have you been in Los Angeles?
I think either 12 or 13 years.
Okay.
Let me do math. If I came here in 2006, August of 2006.
100 years.
12 years.
12
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the
years.
reverse? Have you ever had a fangirl moment where you've seen someone in the wild in LA that you've been like, oh my God?
I saw Michael Palin. No, not Michael Palin. Eric Idle. Sorry.
Oh, awesome.
At a I do some stuff for Veep, and so they were having like a fan art show, and his daughter owns this little gallery on Melrose that has a lot of these kind of things, and so he was there, and I got so like genuinely flummoxed and flushed and sweaty and and like
nervous
and so nervous, and somebody was like, just go talk to him, he loves the show, I'm sure he knows your character. And I was like, I can't and I was a mess. Wow. And I loved
did you go talk to him?
No,
I
didn't.
No.
And do you kind of hate that you didn't?
I don't know, it's like one of those things, like I don't know. It could have been.
I mean, what were the I assume that you had dialogue in your head forming if you had to run into him of what you would have said. Were there any scenarios that you were like, here's what I'm going to say?
I would probably just say, I'm sure you get this a lot, but I need to express to you how much what you do means to me and how much it affected my life.
Yeah.
And hopefully that would.
Well, he's a huge fan of the podcast, so he'll hear it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's the biggest poster on your...
He's on our Reddit for the thread, just like going
Oh, he can figure it out, but I
nuts.
can't.
You'll just have to trust us. He's on Reddit.
Yeah, damn it. But then the weird thing is I saw him the other day in Atwater Village, walking down the street. I was like, where's Eric Idle?
Wait, you saw him again?
I did see him again.
Wait, so you've had 2 drive-bys with him and you haven't said anything?
Yeah.
All right,
Ryan,
the third
come on,
one.
get it together, man.
There's got to be we have to be seated in some weird context.
Maybe this is like the beginning of like a cool like bro rom-com.
Yeah.
You know?
This is your meet cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they going to meet?
Oh my
We're
God.
shopping in the grocery store on either side of the same aisle. They're like just missing each other.
I mean, he might be on a podcast professing that he's not willing to talk to you, and he's run by you twice now, and he doesn't know how to come up to you.
That guy is in all the commercials.
I love commercials.
He's commercials.
He's such a consumer.
Everyone knows I'm a huge commercial head.
Ad head.
Speaking of commercials, my experience with the audition process for commercials is bad.
Ooh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Especially in LA.
It's like notoriously terrible.
I stopped auditioning for commercials when I moved out here because it just got to me.
Yeah.
And it broke me a little bit.
Well, a lot of it is like you're taking on the bitterness of the person running the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, like, there's a lot of...
There was one guy in New York I remember going to over and over and over that literally just hated his life every single time you walked in the room. And you were just like, I'm inconveniencing you by being here, but you also need people to audition. I don't know what this kind of emotional turmoil is.
That's a weird vibe to get.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have a particularly terrible commercial audition that sticks out, or has it been repressed deep down?
Yeah, there's two.
Okay.
So the first one, it was for a regional bank in the Midwest.
Perfect.
And yeah, so high stakes. Again, I believe in the product. And I did the audition, and then I came back and I did the take, and it was this guy who had like pressed jeans and a kind of blousy linen white shirt. And he was very
it's like a guru?
No, but he kind of looked like Mike Pence. He had that kind of gray, kind of like
got it.
And I did the take, and he was like, okay, can you do it again, but this time not be so retarded?
Oh my God.
And I was like, excuse me? He's like, I don't know, you're just coming off like really retarded. And like you're a retarded person. He just kept saying this over and over.
For a regional bank.
Yeah. And I was like, and so the breakdown was
That's horrifying.
Like in all caps. Extremely awkward, socially terrified to be on camera. So everything was like over the top. And I just did the take that I did for the the initial audition. And so I was like, oh, so the feedback is for me to be less retarded.
Oh my God.
And he was like, yeah, just don't seem like a retard when you do it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And I did it again. And then I think he said something else kind of derogatory, and I ended up getting it.
Oh God!
You did?
I did.
You booked it?
I booked it, and then at the fitting.
But also, if you booked that after that feedback, you must have so much anxiety going into the shooting process.
This is what I did at the fitting.
Man.
I said, "Can I talk to you, please?" And he's like, "Sure." I was like, "I have to let you know that if the way that you ran the room for the callback is how the set's going to go, I'm not going to do this job because I've never been so insulted during an audition process. You don't know what the context of my life is.
Right.
I very easily could have someone in my life who is mentally handicapped. And I do, in fact, at the time, my manager's son had Down syndrome, and he was dealing with a lot of that stuff. And he was like, oh gosh, I didn't know that I came off that way. I was like, well, the words you're using were very offensive and, inappropriate. And he was like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry. It's just, as a director, it's so hard to find the words to get people to do stuff. And I was like, that was your fucking job, you idiot.
Wow.
You're a director of a regional bank commercial, and you could have used 10,000 other ways to
just say tone it down, or not so,
or maybe something different.
Yeah,
let's try a different take on this.
Yeah, so that was crazy. And then so there's that one. What's the other one? That's there's this guy that I hate. He always runs a room out in Santa Monica, and he's super bitter, and everyone hates him. And so we were doing this thing where it's three of us, and he kind of gave the, all right, okay, guys, you're going to do this, talking down to us. And we're like, okay. And all the guys I knew just were familiar, and we're all, good and competent.
Yeah.
And we did a take, and he was like, okay, guys, here's the deal. If I was directing this and I just lost it, and I was like, are you directing this? Are you directing the commercial? And then one of the other guys was like, yeah, are you the director? Because we want to get out of here, and we did a good take. So just if you want to do another one, and everybody just like fucking
piled on.
Yeah, piled on.
Wow.
And we did another take, and we just left and stuff. And everybody was outside, kind of like high-five each other. Like, took it down. Yeah, fuck you.
Wow. So basically, it was a group therapy session for all of you guys to get your anger out on this person that you all hate.
But it was like, he needed to. I've seen him at another thing, and there's this woman who hasn't done that many clearly, and he was giving her the most fucking just like waiting for Guffman bullshit direction of just like, what is the backstory of this woman who's considering getting Spectrum cable, you know?
Jesus.
And she's like, I don't know. She wants to get a better cable. And she's like, but why?
She wants to watch Bravo. Fuck
Yeah.
off.
Wow.
I was like, you're...
That's so fun and nuts.
Yeah.
But at least you guys were in it together.
Yeah,
Three
totally.
Musketeers. Did you book it too?
No,
okay.
that one. That
All right.
one, I think I was clearly angry on camera during all the takes.
Yeah, I know. There must be a plethora, an archive of audition tapes that you've done that exists out there in the ether somewhere.
Yeah, where I just look miserable. just hating
a cog in the machine going through it.
I would, if anyone, you know, wants my take on it, it's just like, do whatever is either entertaining to you or funny to you.
Yeah.
Don't, most of the time, you can sense that the person doesn't know what's going on. And if they don't know what's going on, just do your thing.
I stopped commercial auditioning just because I couldn't give in. I'm so stubborn that I couldn't give in to like the Tide commercial and like sincerely being.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh, it's terrible. One time I had to do a commercial audition for like a laundry soap, not Tide, but something similar. And they're like, do you like kids? Because I had to play like a mom. And I was probably 25 and I looked like I was 12 and I was like, sure. Yeah, of course I do. Then they brought in like 3 triplets.
Oh, God.
And they were like, here, hold the kid now and do it again. And I just broke out in hives, like completely. I was just like,
you're allergic to youth.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
allergic to responsibility, basically.
Oh, man.
So that tape is out there somewhere in the ether.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I cannot do, you know, the ones that are the kind of like false chipperness. It has to be funny because when I do it, it just sort of feels like I'm like drowning a puppy with a smile on my face. I'm just like, sure, I believe this.
Oh my God.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back with Brian Huskey, we have a ton of Twitter questions that I think are really fun. So we'll get into that right after this.
Well, what commercial?
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Tomboy X. It is time to stop wearing underwear that doesn't make you feel confident. You guys know I truly believe in that sentiment. Underwear with more frills than function, underwear your mom got you to fem you up. It's time to wear underwear that's made to fit you and how you see yourself, and that is Tomboy X. Tomboy X has everything from bikinis, briefs, boxer briefs, trunks, and boy shorts to soft bras and racer back bras, all in everyday basic colors and fun seasonal prints, and all with the options from extra small to 4X. Regardless of where you fall on the size or gender spectrum, Tomboy X offers amazing underwear that anybody can feel comfortable in. So go to tomboyx.com/grace and check out their special bundles and pack pricing. Not Too Deep with Grace listeners will get an extra 15% off with the code GRACE, GRACE. Just the code GRACE, GRACE for an extra 15% off. Ditch whatever you're wearing for a pair of Tomboy X underwear. Go to tomboyx.com/grace.
We're back with Brian Huskey. Yay!
Hey, what's up?
He has a wide range of characters that you'll see throughout the rest of this podcast. Before we get into Twitter questions, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every guest that's on the podcast.
Great.
And the first one is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Ooh. Right now, Trump.
Yeah.
I would, if I could, I'd put it in a cannon so that it would really hurt him.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you. As a comedian, where do you toe the line between like using social media to talk politically versus using it solely as like promotion and comedy stuff? Or do you have that line for yourself?
I like social media stuff. There's not a constance. Like I realized that for a while I was kind of like, I'm angry, I'm going to put something up. You know, and then I did, if I do more stuff on my Instagram than Twitter.
Which makes sense. You were photography.
Yeah. And I don't know, Twitter kind of stresses me out.
It stresses me out too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Everyone
Lately,
so much.
I have to, like log out every day because I get too overwhelmed.
I just can't that much. I will get lost in it.
Yeah. And
but if I did put something up and someone kind of came at me, I would always try to engage them, not as an enemy, but just like, okay, I want to know what you think.
Yeah, fellow
This
human.
is what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, find out the why.
Same thing.
Yeah, and I had that with a relative of mine in North Carolina who's very Trumpy.
Really?
And he was just sort of like, oh, you sound like a cuck, you know, blah, blah. And I was like, don't, come on. Let's talk to each other.
Yeah, have some respect between two diverging ideas.
And it took a while. It took a real, it took some...
But did you break them down eventually?
Yeah, eventually I was like, well, I really want to know why you believe and what you think and stuff. And I'm not going to say you're wrong because everyone's belief system is their perspective on the world.
Totally.
And unfortunately, we have some pretty,
shaky foundations.
Yeah, the opposite sides of the coins going on. But, my big takeaway is that everybody wants to be safe.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to protect their family and what they have.
Yeah.
And that's all anybody does. Unfortunately, there are ranges of how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who is deemed as a threat and who is deemed as a, ally. So
social media fun.
Woo! Figuring it out.
That about sums it up, though. I mean, that's
it really
that's
does.
the best way to put it because you can boil everything down to pretty much just that.
Yeah.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. End of the day, everybody goes home and just like, everybody's insecure.
Yeah.
At least 20 times a day.
At least. Oh, that's me on a
Only
good
20?
day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wait, is that
what time is it?
That's
No. The other,
there's another one.
There's
right?
another hard hitting question that I ask every single guest.
Great.
To tell us your worst pants shitting story, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Okay. Mine.
You have one immediately.
Yeah,
this is my favorite when a guest has one immediately.
Let's see. Did I just get 3 words?
3 words or 3 small phrases or any combination of that.
Okay. Series regular, callback, Veep.
Oh,
no. Oh, paints a...
Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right, no follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So, wow, you've been through the ringer.
I have.
Okay, let's get into these Twitter questions that we have for you. Kita Cotter wants to know, what's the weirdest thing you've seen in someone's house?
I saw that one online, and I've been racking my brain trying to think about the weirdest.
What's the weirdest thing that you think you have in your house? Because I'm sure you have, in being in comedy and sketch, a variety of props or things that you've collected over the years.
I don't know. I think I did a big old
You're
purge.
an adult. Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
an adult now. I did, I can't remember whose house it was, but they had a problematic number of sofas in their house.
What?
Just sofas.
Were you in an Ethan Allen?
I don't know. It was in New York, and so it was a tiny place anyway. And it was some friend of a friend. And I was like, but in one room, he had 5 couches and then one in his bed. Just so many couches.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre feng shui.
No way to move through the house. You're just kind of sliding sideways everywhere. I just imagine he's always lounging.
Yeah.
Lounges across the room.
He's afraid it's lava on the floor.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to touch it.
Yeah. He has narcolepsy. He has to be ready at any time.
Seriously.
Oh God, I'm going.
Is one of them a fainting couch?
Yeah. Did they all become fainting couches?
Yeah. Bing Bong Boop wants to know, why did the Brian Huskey expose all his secrets on his Twitter profile photo? It's all in the beard, folks. All caps.
Why did I
expose all your secrets in your Twitter profile photo?
This guy's he's got something going on.
They're angling.
Yeah, he's
for
got
something
that's a very inside joke. He's saying that my beard holds a lot of secrets, right? I some people like to have their hearts on their sleeve. I like to have my heart on my face.
On your face.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
the funny thing too, and I'm sure you know this obviously, is that when you look up Brian Huskey, it's like a chef.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk?
No, I wanted to do a funny or die video with him.
Oh yeah.
and he's like he was on Top Chef.
I looked it up first, and then I was like, so he's into like burgers. All right,
We'll
talk about that. And then I realized that it wasn't you. And
no, he's a young. I think he's Korean.
I think so. Yeah,
Korean American, and with sort of like frosted blonde hair.
Yeah. I thoued you were just posting funny like stock photos that you found.
No, he just ruins my Google alerts.
Because it's Brian Huskey across everything, right?
There's a lot of Brian Huskies. There was a country singer in. Sorry. Oh wait, I'm getting a call. Pretend like this is my call.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's my fault. Sorry about that.
It's my agent. Okay, no.
You booked that commercial that you guys screamed at that casting director.
I just got a Square One ad. Oh my god, this is so great. But he, what were we talking about?
You had a bunch of Brian Huskies.
Yeah. Oh, so there's a country singer, and he was in Charlotte, and my friends of my family went to go see him because I was playing in a band at the time. And they were like, "Oh, I guess Brian's doing some solo stuff." And they come in, and it's like this grizzled old, just.
They legitimately thought it was you that was performing.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I know, and they were like, "Oh, he looks terrible."
When do we schedule our intervention?
Yeah.
This is interesting. 90s Forever wants to know best and worst advice for someone getting into improv.
Okay, so worst advice would be do it with the intention that it's going to lead to work.
Ooh, yeah, that's really terrible advice.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah, if you do it, you have to. And then the best advice is like, do it with enjoyment in mind.
Yeah.
Do it for the sheer experience, and also what it will do to your brain, which is a very good, healthy thing, I think.
Yeah, it exercises all these muscles in your brain, and also I always think improv philosophy should translate into real life philosophies really well.
You said it, yeah, and I addendum, like the other good thing is like apply it to your life.
Yeah, say yes and follow your fear are like two of the biggest things that I think are most applicable to real life scenarios.
And I forget it all the time, like because it's not, like doing improv is where I feel most comfortable a lot of times. And I was like, well, I should do this in life. It'll make it a lot.
You've gotten comfortable being uncomfortable. That's pretty much what improv is, right? It's just going on stage on being uncomfortable.
No, I mean, initially.
Yeah,
but it is that thing. You have to it's a lot of unthinking. It's a lot of zen-y kind of stuff.
It's meditation in a way.
Yeah. You have to be absolutely in this moment right now, just engaging with the other person.
Right.
And then don't worry about what just happened or where it's going. Just trust that each moment's going to lead to the next thing. And then you can have the perspective on it once it's done. You're like, oh, that was a good scene.
Right.
Or, that was a bad scene. Good thing we didn't invest, money in it.
Sure.
Or this isn't anything that we wrote.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Netflix isn't. We didn't pitch this scene to Netflix right now.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I'm more scared of written stuff. Like,
really?
I don't... stand up made me feel lonely. Like the times I tried to do it.
One of the questions I was going to ask, what's the difference for you, stand up versus improv, in terms of like dealing with an audience, dealing with yourself scenario?
Yeah, I don't know. It like I didn't like being beholden to the same thing each time. But I also like doing stuff with other people.
Yeah.
And I also don't think I had the patience to revisit something over and over again. Like it wasn't as interesting to me to kind of like, all right, I'm going to get the audience with this again and manipulate them. I liked
it gets stale. Yeah,
but the weird thing is like it's strange that I think I gravitated towards improv because I like genuinely I kind of like security and predictability and stability and stuff. But there's something very familiar, probably what I grew up with, maybe about kind of like the unknown and chaos and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's an addictive feeling, the high of producing something from nothing that works really well. Yeah, and knowing that was a spontaneous moment that existed only in that moment.
Right. Yeah,
and there's something very euphoric about that.
And I think it's telling that I don't do extreme sports or any of that kind of stuff. I will do some other version, right? It looked like it. It totally looked like it.
Yeah.
What about that GoPro commercial you're in?
That was CGI.
Oh, okay.
It's just my hands. My hands got the ad.
Do you get perks after these commercials? Do you get free swag?
Not much.
Really?
No.
That's surprising.
I know, right?
What's the best piece of anything you've gotten from like a shoot or a commercial or an ad in any capacity?
I'm not good at asking for it, so.
Oh, I'm with you. That I'm
Yeah.
like, if they give it to me, that's amazing, and I'll in my brain have secretly wanted it the whole time, but I'll never ask.
I did this series, Swagger Wagon, that was like this thing for Toyota, the Sienna, and my agent was like just relentlessly trying to get me a car. He's like, he will drive a Honda around town unless you give him, a Toyota.
Oh, wow.
And I never gave it
what
to
a
me.
threat!
Yeah.
What a deep cut threat!
I know, totally. And then, but then you hear like people who are like voiceover actors who are given like a Lexus.
Yeah.
You're like, but they don't even know the face. What's going on?
That's crazy.
I know. I got to get better at that. I could have gotten some free buy vitamin water at this recent thing I did, but I don't want that product in my body.
You heard it here first. Go bye. Okay. Gas Daron wants to know, have you ever had a pickle wrap?
A pickle wrap? I've had a fried pickle.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Delicious.
So,
oh, yeah, because you're from North Carolina, so I assume you've had everything fried.
Yeah.
Fried Oreos.
Lots of fried, disgusting.
Yeah.
No,
And you just went back, right? You said, and visited family?
I went to South Carolina to Cherry Grove, and then I drove up to Wrightsville Beach to see a friend of mine in North Carolina.
Very cool.
Originally from North.
And I mean, you don't have any of the accent at all. My best friend, Mamrie Hart, is from North Carolina, and she has a twang.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will get a twang. Like, I think my twang was stronger earlier this week.
When the residual being home around everyone else. Yeah.
And then my daughter started to get it. She was kind of jokingly with like speaking Southern, and then she started to actually have it. And I was like, oh, what of us? What of us?
Does it creep out if you're drinking?
No.
Because that's a very common thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Mamrie only gets it when she's drunk and excited, or she's recently talked to her mom on the phone.
Yeah.
That it like
I think that's
heightens.
it. I pick it up from
yeah, that it's just shadowing, that all of a sudden I'm like, you sound like a cartoon character.
I never had much of one. Like, a lot of people didn't think I was from there, but my family is like 3 generations from Charlotte. And
really?
Oh, yeah. Like,
oh, wow.
Deep Southern people.
What's like the if you have like a favorite Southern hobby that you do when you go home?
Well, eating barbecue, not to sound sort of like, but getting like vinegar based, like a barbecue sandwich.
Yeah, that's such a big thing there.
So good.
What is it about the vinegar that
it just is like it's just got a tang to it.
Mm.
And so you don't need the, I'll explain what vinegar does to you.
I just don't understand. Like, it doesn't sound like it would be good.
Well, but
it's such a big thing there.
But in regular barbecue, you have like the red sauce that already, but that has vinegar in it.
Right.
So it's just a little.
Get straight to the source.
It's a little less of the ketchup.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But then you can still put some of that bullshit on there if you want to. But you do that
bullshit.
You have some of that with coleslaw. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Dang.
Wake up.
Dang. It's 2018.
Let's do this, society.
Schneider Sandra wants to know, if you could choose whether or not to be able to read minds, what would you choose and why?
Well, wait. If I could choose to,
if you had
what would I choose? I would
Yeah.
choose to read minds, right?
You would?
I mean, that's the
If you could choose whether or not you had, I guess, a superpower to read minds.
right.
If someone gave you, here's this coin, if you take this, you'll be able to read minds.
Right.
Would you take the coin or would you leave it?
I'd take it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'd leave it.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds noisy.
If I had control of it.
No, yeah, that's the follow-up question.
If it's like a Legion thing where I'm here, or Dr. X, I have to wear that fucking helmet. No way.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if I could control it, that'd be great.
He asked me that because I'm bald. He thinks that all bald guys can read minds or want to read minds. That's just
such a stigma.
That's a stereotype.
Such a stigma. Spirit Shield 178 wants to know favorite strain.
Oh, of marijuana. I
Sure.
assume? Or a
Presumably.
TV show.
I also do
which
want-
season-
Episode 3 of The
which-
Strain.
which episode?
Season 1, for sure.
well, I also did want to find out, because I'm always curious when people are in the entertainment industry so much, like, what do you watch?
What do I watch?
Yeah.
I'm really like Legion is great.
Okay.
I go in and out of watching TV. I genuinely get kind of stressed out at how much there is.
There's so many options.
Yeah.
Do you have a guilty pleasure, like turn off my brain, I'm gonna watch this like reality show or this like thing that's just trash TV?
No, those make me more sad than anything.
Oh, see, I gotta learn that because I watch them thinking it's gonna shut my brain off, and then I'm full of anxiety afterwards.
It makes me feel like, oh God, it makes me feel like I'm hanging out at the mall with people I hate by force, just all day long. Like, no, I don't want to do this.
That's a very, very accurate statement about reality TV.
But yeah, okay, but like right now I'm watching Barry and Silicon Valley and Legion, and I watch a lot of documentaries.
Do you?
Yeah.
If you like Legion, you'll probably like Fargo.
Oh yeah, I loved Fargo.
Oh,
all
so
the Fargos
good.
are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What docs have you watched?
Right now there's one called Wild Wild Country.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
is
we're
so
obsessed.
great.
Yeah, we're obsessed.
That one's
Sheila
good.
is the greatest villain to ever exist on TV.
So confusing.
I thought, what's his face from the Donkey Kong documentary was the greatest villain. Billy Mitchell.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he was. And then Sheila is coming for his title.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't poison anybody.
He didn't put beavers in a blender.
Oh yeah, that story
Spoiler
is so
alert. Sorry.
crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. I saw the documentary and I was like, how have I never heard of this? Because it sounds so crazy.
Well, that's sort of the Netflix thing. Like, there's so much good stuff in there,
Yeah.
but they just, they're even more so than Adult Swim. They just put it up. And like,
Yeah,
I
it's
dare
true.
you to find it in our confusing wall of panels.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
weirdly
it's
nag
true.
you into watching their content.
They
where they're
do.
just like bully, like, good luck.
I don't understand why. Okay, Netflix, if you're listening, start off with recently watched, and then what's trending, and then but don't jumble it up of like kids documentaries, things with feet in it. Just like make a choice.
Cerebral crime dramas from Denmark. I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's a much more effective way.
Based on something you don't know about yourself.
Something we've been observing on your Alexa when you cry at night. You need something like this. Okay, Mrs. Katie Dallas 1 wants to know, what would you do if you had one day left?
Oh God, such pressure.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Such pressure.
Yikes.
I'd be with my daughter, and we'd figure it out.
That's totally fair and very sweet.
And I recognize that there would have to be like 2 hours of her checking Instagram and doing her slime.
Yeah, what's your as a dad with a daughter that is like prime? Was it Gen Z? Is she part of Gen Z?
I think so. Is that no?
I think so.
There's a different.
There's millennials.
Millennials, I
and
think,
then,
are all over 18 now.
Below millennials and centennials, I think.
Oh, so I'm not totally.
Yeah, I heard this the other day. It is another kind of
generation in there.
Yeah, sort of Roman numeral sort of category.
Sure. Just a weird, pretentious title for your age.
Centurions?
Yeah, centurions. Yeah.
Centaurs.
It's a Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
thing.
centaurs. There's been an era of centaurs.
She's a tween.
Right. So what do you have like rules on like get off your phone or like
I'm not great at it.
Do whatever you want.
Go in and out of it. She has a very fluid, like it's pretty much all making slime. So she'll make slime and kind of listen to it.
That's the best activity a tween could have.
Yeah.
The safest, healthiest activity.
She's watching these. She always seeks out such cool stuff. Like when she was on Musical.ly for a while.
Oh boy.
God. And we had this profound discussion the other day. It's like, it's interesting how I used to do Musical.ly, but I just don't find it interesting or anything now. And I was like, yeah, that'll happen. You'll
growing
lose
up.
into I didn't want to say soon this slime thing will probably not make sense to you. But she found in that she started following some people who had like physical deformities and a lot of trans kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she would sort of say, Dad, this guy's so funny. He has something on his face, but he's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a kid who like had pretty much like a elephant man level of like really stuff. And I love that she was just like, he has something on his face, but he's so funny.
That wasn't the
that wasn't the takeaway. So
that's amazing.
She on YouTube, she watches a lot of sort of these animated confessional stories, and a lot of them right now, there are a lot of stuff about sort of the awkwardness of like being a tween or having a crush on somebody or feelings and all this kind of stuff. So like, all right, you're not hurting your brain.
She's seeking out things that are fascinating and give her a broader perspective of like humanity.
Yeah, because she's very private and she's very like I was saying, she has to find stuff herself,
right?
You know, or
independent.
You can't. You have to kind of be like, just leave it on the table and she'll find it, but you have to make sure
put the breadcrumbs down and hopefully she arrives there.
Yeah, but to answer your question, we should lock it down a little bit more.
I mean, she sounds like she's okay. She sounds like she should give me advice about navigating the internet.
Yeah, I imagine people who grow up natively with all of these tools are probably better equipped to handle it than, say, myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she does have, I mean, she just got a phone recently.
Oh, that's good. So she had some perspective of not having the phone.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, rare for probably peers her age.
Yeah,
I guess, I mean, a lot of her friends aren't going to get them until they're 15. I didn't.
Oh, so
her mother and I, like, we're divorced, but there was a little miscommunication as to what the timeline on that was. And
sure.
A little sooner than I wanted, but
sure. It
happens.
It fully happens.
Yeah.
We're almost to the end of the podcast, but I have to ask about the dogs.
Okay.
You have two of them, right?
Epi and Raichu.
They are goddamn adorable.
They're cute, right?
Yeah. What kind are they?
Epi is like a Wheaten Terrier Poodle mix. From the Burbank shelter.
Oh, great.
And then Raichu is a Pekingese Shih Tzu.
Okay.
A Pika shit.
Perfect.
And we got him from some woman who is basically a dog hoarder.
Perfect. How old are they?
Epi is probably 8.
Whoa.
And then Raichu is probably 2.5.
They are so cute. You seem obsessed with them because they're very easily like obsessible.
They're pretty obsessible. Yeah. I was like, I'm the most reluctant dog person. Like I used to be. We used to have this wonderful big dog named Lily, and then we got Epi so Lily wouldn't be lonely. And I at that time in my life, everything stressed me out. So I was like, oh my god, the dogs, it's a mania. And it was a kind of, I realized I was almost like that kind of dad who's like, well, I don't give you a hug, but I love you. You know, I was like a reluctant kind of.
Basically like a military dad.
Yeah, but there's something about Raichu just that melted me. I was like, oh my God. And I think also Isla's love of dogs has melted me. She just got at her mom's house. They already had 2 dogs, and then they got a third one, a pit bull named Cammy, who is. And I was like, oh my God, I love Cammy.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Do you have the most embarrassing? I also have a dog, and like I feel like I'm a different version of myself when it's just me and my dog at home. I find myself in full audible conversations with my dog with no call and response. It's just me shouting out into her like face that looks confused. Do you have like embarrassing dog owner behavior?
Not embarrassed. I mean, I have this bit that I do more with myself. I come in and I'm like, hey guys, what you been doing today? And I'm like, guys, what's going on? And I'll like chase them around, just screaming at them, like, what have you been doing? Why won't you open up to me? They think it's funny that I'm chasing them, but they don't know that.
Yeah, you're like, I'm doing this bit for you guys.
Somebody should film this.
Mr. Neighbor's House season special 3.
Yeah.
Get some doggos in there.
That's the third one. Yeah.
Brian, this has been so fun. Thank you for making time.
Oh my God, this is so great.
For people that don't know, where can they find you online and where can they watch Mr. Neighbor's House?
Online, and in this online stuff, there's a link to the specials. Both on Twitter and Instagram, I am the Brian Huskey.
Great. Yeah, don't follow that chef.
No, God,
Watch
it's so
out.
boring. If you want to see burger shots, who cares? And then it's on the Adult Swim website, which is kind of hard to navigate, surprisingly.
Yes.
But right now they have both specials paired up together on the same page. So you can, I recommend starting with Mr. Neighbor's House and then moving on to Mr. Neighbor's House 2.
Chronologically.
Might
be the best way. We're going to give you the gift that we give everyone, a personalized fortune cookie that Julie has for you.
Dang.
Yeah.
Personalized.
Yeah, well, you know.
Jeez, wait, did you make the cookies?
No.
Okay.
We bought them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what degree
they
to
might
personalize.
be weirdly stale or weirdly...
Oh, yeah, these are not fresh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this... I got 2 of them.
Oh,
no, it's really
just
long.
Just one really long one.
All right, this one says, Mr. Rogers will haunt your dreams for your tribute, but But he'll actually be really sweet about it. It'll essentially feel like therapy. Aw,
There
that's
you go.
nice.
That's very nice.
As long as he keeps his shoes on.
Dear God.
Too creepy.
Go check out Brian Huskey online, guys. And please go watch Mr. Neighbor's House. It is so good.
Yeah, Mr. Neighbor's House and Mr. Neighbor's House 2.
There's
Hey.
double the pleasure, double the fun. And maybe you'll see him in a Double Mint commercial soon. So.
Great product. Great product. Great product. Great product.
We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep.
With Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.